Welcome everybody to another feature match from locals. Here we have in round 3 Salamangreat versus Harpies. So I hope you guys are looking forward to this match. Harpies have never been on the channel, of course, so let's get right into it. And as we do, a reminder to check out my affiliate link to TCG Player down in the description below if you guys are picking up anything off of TCG Player. Don't forget to check that link out. Help support me in the channel in the process, so much appreciated. So Salamangreat player here, getting started with a normal summon of Flame Buffalo, linking it into the Baylink, searching the field spell as Chainlink 2, and then resolving Buffalo as Chainlink 1 to discard a Cybers, to draw 2, and looks like he ends up discarding that copy of Foxy. So perhaps trying to find some way to get that out of the graveyard to go into a Mirage Stalio at this point if he can, because it's pretty much at this point is the sort of crucial point to see whether or not he can extend. And it looks like he will be able to. He's going to play Will and attempt to use Foxy's Graveyard effect. It'll be met with a DD Crow, so just now preventing a summon of Mirage Stalio because he would have been able to summon out the one Foxy via its own effect and then summon out the other via Will. He's going to do that just now. And if he had something like a Spinny or a Sea Archiver, he would be able to keep going, but unfortunately he does not. And one DD Crow actually proving like it might just be enough here to turn a rather productive Salamangreat and rather standard Salamangreat turn into a lackluster one. And he's not even going to end on like a Sunlight Wolf or anything. Just going to go straight for the Heat of Fire Charmer Ablaze as he passes it over to the Harpy player. And in hopes if that gets destroyed, he will be able to add a fire monster from his deck to his hand with 1500 or less defense, I believe. So our Harpy player getting started with Harpy Channeler, discarding a card to be able to special summon a Harpy from the deck. And he's going to with a Harpy Perfumer. And he's going to search a copy of Hunting Ground, which is an old favorite of mine as far as field spells are concerned, because it just tears up back row like you wouldn't believe. Essentially, anytime you normal or special summon, I believe, a Harpy monster, or Harpy Sisters, or Harpy Lady or Harpy Sister, you can basically just destroy a spell or trap your opponent controls. It is pretty insane, and it gives all winged beast monsters, I believe, 200 attack additional. So he's going to attempt to activate Hysteric Sign. And then he's going to also attempt to activate Elegant Egotisk, which basically just specials one from deck, and it is not a once per turn. So if that special summon goes through, he will be able to start clearing some back row thanks to the Hunting Ground. But our Salamangreat player does have a response to that in the form of Cosmic Cyclone. Pay 1,000 to banish that Hunting Ground. So when the Harpy Lady monster does come out and it's Harpy Lady 1, that won't be able to result in the loss of that Will, which he definitely wants to keep. Even though he does have a Baylink engraved to protect, there's to say he can't, pop it multiple times with Hunting Ground. And we're going to see a rank 4 play here, and it looks like he's actually going to go into a copy of the Utopia Double, which is actually going to end up spelling disaster here if there is no Ash or anything, because that is an 1850 Charmer Ablaze, and that is a 10,000 attack Utopia, it is most certainly going to be game right then and there if he cannot do anything about it. Reading the card right now, seeing the writing on the wall, realizing that is going to be game, and a very quick loss due to that double or nothing. Now, if he would have been able to combo, and he could have perhaps been able to get to a copy of Rage or Roar, had that DD Crow not slowed him down, but who knows. We're going to head into game 2, and of course, as we do, a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist. If you guys are trying to get any new amazing cloth playmats or dice or sleeves, or now their new deck box that they have, which I'll be making a video on soon, probably in the next deck profile or something. Check them out down in the description below. They sell amazing products for TCG, stuff like that. So link to their website down below, and don't forget to use that discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. So getting back to the game here, our Harpy player was forced to go first here in game 1, or game 2. Seemingly as though as the deck might want to go second because it excels at making rank 4s very, very easily. And even in Master Rule 5, that could be proved to be a lot better of a deck at that point. But just normal summoning the Harpy Lady 1 and setting one back row, and our Salamangreat player is getting started with a copy of Circle and then going right into a Desires, hoping not to banish a Gazelle or any key combo piece. Now getting started with a special summon of Pankratops. Now Pankratops is a pretty good card here in this matchup, and unfortunately looks like our Harpy player has opened a copy of Double or Nothing, probably the only copy. Now we're going to see the Pankratops effect be used immediately to pop a set Hysteric Sign, which is going to result in our Harpy player getting a +3 during the next turn, which is really unfortunate because not a lot of people are aware of Hysteric Sign and why you don't want to clear that card, because the end phase that it was sent to the graveyard, you can basically add up to 3 Harpy cards from your deck to your hand with different names. And speaking of Harpy cards, Harpy's Featherstorm activated in response to the Gazelle. And basically says, while you control a winged beast, you basically can play it and negate the activated effects and effects of all monsters your opponent controls. And if you control a Harpy monster, you can activate it from your hand. So that is going to just completely deny the Gazelle from going through. And our Harpy player now is going to crash the Balinx into that 1600 Harpy Lady 1, because she is gaining 300. All wind monsters on the field will gain 300 attack while she's on the field. And end phase, resolving that Hysteric Sign to add 3, another copy of Featherstorm included. So our Salamangreat player completely getting shut out that turn. Now passing it back over to our Harpy Lady player, getting started by discarding the Harpist off of the Chandler to summon out Perfumer, to be able to add Hysteric Sign. And then Hysteric Sign summoning out another copy of Harpy Lady 1. So now all wind monsters in the field are up by 600. So he'll take 19, 19, and then I believe maybe like 23 or 24. But at the end of all the damage, he has ended up dropping down to 1100. Now, I don't know if there's any other way he could have gone for a game by going into the extra deck, but going to play it safe and try to do the rest of the, in quotes, damage with this Abyss Dweller and try to seal out the game here. So standby phase of the Salamangreat player's turn. Of course, we're going to see the activation of the Abyss Dweller, which is pretty good, except there's another Pankratops now being summoned to the field. So won't care too much about Dweller, but his Jack Jaguars, Falcos, Sea Archivers, Spinnies, and things like that most certainly will care about that Abyss Dweller, because all of those cards in some way are affected by the Dweller, of course. And then still 2 Harpy Lady 1s. Now, if this were Master Rule 5, we could see a double rank 4 play here, so possibly one other rank 4 to go along with it to protect the Dweller. Maybe a Tornado Dragon on top of it to also pose as a threat to clear back row, or something along the lines of that. So now our Salamangreat player also has the knowledge of the Featherstorm being in his opponent's hand. He really doesn't want to try to play into that again and try to sort of combo through it, because if he does, it will result in it getting stopped immediately by a Featherstorm. So he kind of has to sort of do as little as he can this turn while still putting up a defensive board. So he's going to go right into the battle phase and swing over one of the Harpy sisters, or the Harpy Lady, and just giving up the battle phase like that, not opting to use the Pankratops effect, because of course he could have the opportunity to respond with that Featherstorm and just completely negate the Pankratops, and it will attribute itself away for cost and leaving him with nothing. That's not what you want to do with just 1100 life points left at this point. And again, if you start trying to combo, if you're the Salamangreat player, it could end very badly, because you're just going to get stopped with all your pieces on the field and leaves you vulnerable to a Utopia double. So he's just going to set one and pass. Now, he does not know that his opponent here opened the Utopia double, or the double or nothing rather. So still trying to play around it as much as he possibly can, because if worse comes to worse, he can tribute away the Pankratops for cost, at least, even if it does get negated. So our Salamangreat player, or our Harpy player rather, is going to use Dweller on his turn, and then immediately link off the Dweller and the Harpy Lady into Win the Wind Charmer Verdant, which is going to swing into the set card, which actually ends up being a Sea Archiver, and he'll take 250, thanks to Win being 1850, much like Hida. So he'll take a whopping 150, or 250 rather, and he will set one, I believe, here, and potentially pass. Now, he still has that copy of Featherstorm in the hand. Now, checking the card here to see if it is still be able to be used to an extent while it is set, but you still need to meet the activation requirements of the Featherstorm, which is controlling a winged beast monster. And you will also need, if you want to activate it from hand, to control a Harpy monster, which at this point he does not. And I don't know if Win the Wind Charmer is a Winged Beast, but if it's not, he's completely safe from Featherstorm at this point. So, I mean, at this point, it's like, do you link off into a win and hope he doesn't, he's not able to kill you? Or do you leave just the Dweller there and the Harpy in attack, and hopefully the Featherstorm is enough to slow him down? But right now, just going full bore, linking the Jaguar into Balinks, and then the Gazelle will get summoned off of the Jaguar, leaving the field, and of course the Gazelle dumping that copy of Rage to the graveyard, that new beautiful super rare Rage alongside that Jaguar, looking very good from the latest OTS pack. And now going to summon out Falco. This Falco will help out Sunlight Wolf in recurring some of those really good spells and traps in the graveyards, because once that hits the grave, we'll be able to reset a Salamangreat spell or trap. Definitely going to try and go for the Rage. So going to link off now the Mirage and the Balinks into, of course, the Sunlight Wolf. Now the Mirage Stalio is going to activate and bounce that Win the Wind Charmer. Our Salamangreat player getting a little bit ahead of himself here. Hasn't linked off the Falco just yet, so doesn't get it set just quite yet, but, just being one step ahead here. But going to link off the Falco for a Balinks, now the effect will activate to set itself back to the field. A Rage, which is such a fantastic card against this deck. Putting out multiple bodies before it can really start to do anything in the extra deck. Just a Rage for 2 or even 3 with a Heat Leo could prove to just be absolutely devastating. So the Sunlight Wolf now on the summon of Balinks is going to add back Gazelle. Of course, no brainer. Definitely want that card back to your hand as soon as possible to be able to use it again in following turns. Or if your opponent happens to decide to clear anything in your on your field, not during the battle phase. Because, of course, Gazelle cannot activate when something is destroyed by battle, because that happens in the damage step, so it does miss timing there. But now going to link off the Balinks and the Sunlight Wolf into another Sunlight Wolf, and then using Jaguar to recycle the Stalio, and then using Sunlight Wolf's other effect to add back that copy of Circle, that recyclable Rhoda, if you will. And then Heat Leo doing what it does best and shuffling that back row into the deck, and discarding a Spinny here to boost up that Heat Leo by an additional 500. Also, one other important thing to note at this point, since the effect of Mirage Stalio to summon from deck was activated this turn, our Salamangreat player is locked into only being able to activate Fire Monster's effects for the rest of the turn. One of the things that makes it really hard to do a lot with Salamangreat on the turn 3 process is because if you try to use Mirage Stalio to extend instead of just removing by linking it away, you're limiting yourself in what you have access to be able to put on damage. So he will attack in with both of those, and then main phase 2, he uses Spinny here. And then Sea Archiver is activated, which he will actually technically not be able to use here. Tries to go into the Update Jammer again, which he could go into, but just not with the help of Sea Archiver. Either way, Harpy player deciding to scoop there, realizing there's a set Rage and a Pankratops on the field, and there's not too much he's probably going to be able to do about that in the following turn. The Harpies Featherstorm could definitely stop the Pankratops, but not the Rage. Which is still going to be a massive problem. So we're going into a Game 3 situation here, where Salamangreat has been opted to go first, which is rather interesting. Giving the first turn combo deck opportunities to set up. After resolving a Pot of Desires, we'll see the normal summon of the Flame Buffalo, and linking that off into, of course, a Balinks. And then we'll see Chainlink 2 Balinks, and then I can assume Chainlink 1 Buffalo, if he has a good discard for it that he wants to get rid of. We'll see here in just a moment. But anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying the feature matches as of late. Got one other feature match for this week coming up, probably tomorrow, from when this video goes up. It should be a pretty exciting matchup. I hope you guys are looking forward to that. But you will have a good discard for that Buffalo in the form of Spinny, and then the Sea Archiver coming in very, very clutch to help complete a rank 3 play. And again, using Mirage Stalio to summon out Jaguar, now locked into only being able to activate the effects of Fire Monsters for the remainder of the turn, which should be okay, since the Sea Archiver is conveniently activated right before the summon of Mirage Stalio, so again, should not be too much of a problem. Looking to update Jammer, because Update Jammer can actually, with his first effect, I believe, can end up stopping a card like Utopia Double. Based on its first effect that can negate like all effects on your opponent's side of the field when a monster is declared against like a Cyberse monster. I forget its exact text. You know, that is not a card I look at regularly, but I know its other effect. Whatever it was summoned with, whatever it was used to summon, it can make a second attack. You know, the classic update Jammer into Transcode or update Jammer into Borreload. The double attacking Borreload, the double Snatch Steal, can prove to be very fatal sometimes. So right now, deciding how we can get the best and most defensive field that he can, while still leaving him some options for a following turn. Has quite a few cards in hand as well. One looks to be an Impermanence. Setting 2 now, one which we can imagine is the Impermanence. And then debating on whether or not he wants to link away the Stalio or not. Because that is in defense. And again, anything in defense could potentially stop a swift game loss from the Utopia double into the double or nothing. So that's one thing at this point you are trying to potentially play around. Because he did take a very swift loss to that game one. So something for sure in the back of your head that you're trying not to fall victim to again. And it's very strange because we see a lot, you know, not a lot of the times, but only a few times some decks opting to play that Utopia double package, because oftentimes it does add a brick to the deck, and which not everybody is always a fan of doing. But now deciding that he's going to link off into Sunlight Wolf and then link into a Heatleo and pass it there. And he's going to get started with the Mind Control, and that's going to take the Heatleo immediately. And we'll see that Harpy Channeler get summoned and discard a Harpist. And there is the Impermanence, and he did activate that Mind Control in the same column of Impermanence. It's too bad he didn't put a monster on the field first, but I guess playing around it, thus doing so. We'll see the Elegant Egotist be activated, and that's going to get met with an Ash. Luckily for our Salamangreat player, he doesn't have another copy in hand. Or else that could have been bad, because Elegant Egotist is not a hard once per turn. So if it is met with an Ash, you can easily follow up with another one. And the Impermanence and the Ash, stopping what would have been a very, very good turn. Mind Control into Chandler into Egotist would have been a very, very solid turn. But he's going to link off into Win the Wind Charmer Verdant and go into the battle phase and swing over the defense position Mirage Stalio. And then end phase, I believe Harpist is going to activate and search another copy of the Channeler for potentially a follow-up for next turn. If there will be a next turn, we'll see if the Salamangreat player can pull it off here, which maybe, you know, depending on how much time is left, may or may not be able to do so. But, I mean, we're going to see a Pankratops get slapped down in the field, and then another Buffalo normal summon into Balinks, discarding the Spinny for another, you know, 2 draws. Easiest double draw of your life, especially if it's getting something like Spinny into the graveyard. And speaking of Spinny, we might see the Spinny used here in just a moment to follow up with the Sea Archiver to go and do another Mirage Stalio, but he only plays one Mirage Stallion. He'll need to get that Mirage Stalio back into the extra deck, of course. Jack Jaguar, just the card to do so. So we're going to see that activate now. Of course, we'll have to get summoned out to the zone that Balinks points to. Now from here, Mirage Stalio is probably the next play after the summon of a Sunlight Wolf to clear up your zones. But, of course, if this were Master Rule 5, really wouldn't need to do so, but I guess maybe if you still need to clear up room for that Sea Archiver to be able to trigger its effect, because you'll still need to summon into a zone a Link monster points to. So we'll see the Spinny, and then we'll see, of course, the follow-up of Sea Archiver, and then just adding back Ash Blossom for free. So disgusting, the Sunlight Wolf is sometimes. Then going into the Mirage Stalio as expected. Now, it's crucial at this point to decide whether or not you want to use the Sunlight Wolf as an extender. Because if you do, you will lock yourself out of the effect of something like Transcode Talker, which is something you will need to push for more damage. So that's something you just kind of have to keep in mind. So it's looking like he isn't going to use the effect of Stalio, and instead now just trying to figure out how he wants to perform his next link summon, what he wants to link off. I believe he does end up linking off the Stalio and the Sunlight Wolf here momentarily. Right now, just checking with his opponent the activation requirements of some cards, probably. Hoping that there might not be a Featherstorm in play, but the Wind Charmer is definitely not a Harpy monster and not a Winged Beast, also, I would assume. So he's just going to link right into another Stalio, or not a Stalio, link into another Heatley, or Sunlight Wolf, my apologies. And bouncing back the Wind Charmer off of the Mirage Stalio effect. And then we'll see the Will effect activated here, Soul Charge, basically, to get out the Spinny and to get out the Jack Jaguar. And that is going to give him what he needs, two level 2 or higher Cybers monsters, which will get him into the Transcode, or the Update Jammer, and then he'll link the Update Jammer and the Sunlight Wolf into a copy of Transcode Talker. And he's going to follow up by using Transcode's effect to summon one out from grave. And all co-linked monsters gain 500 attack. So this is a 3,300 double attacking Transcode. With the Pankratops alone is just going to be enough for a game here. And as he enters battle phase, there is no Nibiru, and it's going to spell game right there. So the Salamangreat deck taking the win 2-1. Could have been a very swift 2-0 had there not been an Impermanence and an Ash to stop all the aggressive plays the Harpy deck was able to try, well, at least trying to make in Game 2. And as we saw, a very swift Game 1 thanks to the Utopia double or nothing. While it can win games, isn't always a reliable strategy. Can take games much like we saw in Game 1, but also help to brick your hand like we saw in Game 2. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, Winter Kill sign out. We'll see you guys in the next one.